Hello, and thank you for watching the video today. Today we're going to be doing a little bit more of a landscape watercolor here, just wetting down the paper, adding some light washes to be able to establish some of the background, sky level, and then we'll be adding detail and layers through. Getting some skyline in there. And this is a pretty wet paper, so it flows into the paper and there's no real definitive marks at this point. As we establish the composition of the piece, I'm adding some of the ground level and light washes again, just to kind of get where the background and where the foreground of this piece will be. This is establishing the horizon line using still pretty thin washes to be able to get the water level, and becoming thinner as we get closer to the front. This is going to give a shallow depth to the water, and towards the back of the painting you want to have water a little darker so it has more contrast and more depth to it. Your softer brush will brush so you're getting more flow from the paint. Very loose lines to be able to just fill in any gaps, the surface area. And at this point you're just kind of establishing what the path you want to go with the painting. I mean, have fun with it, create a composition, try to get yourself back into nature. I mean, this is a painting that I did while I was at a service bar working, so it is more plein air outside of a studio with a plein air box watercolor set. You're bringing in a little bit of greens into the foreground, giving it that marshy, more plant life that's left in the water there. So you want to bring some of the greens into the shorelines. And it's just establishing your foreground. Giving a little bit more concentration to some of your blues to establish a wave effect and get a little bit of detail with contrasting colors. Just gives more life to the painting. There's little greens that are coming into the shower lines. There, I left my paper dry out a little bit so I can get a little bit more detail as I start working through the piece. Just bringing a little bit of that green onto the surface of the land and building up the land. You want to have less concentration of color in the land as it gets farther away to add that depth of field to the piece. In the foreground, you want to have darker concentrations and hues of color to give more contrast and a closer focused foreground. little break there. Adding in some of the background, varying different greens give life to the background and makes it more of a natural feel to the painting. Starting to add some of the greens and yellows and browns to add the stalks of the different plants. And you want to keep them kind of washed out a little bit in the background so that it's a little out of focus, more of an impressionistic style. In the foreground, you want to have a little bit more sharper, bolder colors that are going to give more detail and place you sort of in the painting. Adding a little yellows kind of brightens the color up. Yellow and green have that fresh new growth, and then you have some darker greenish blues for the older growth. Here you can blot a little bit. This was just a little too dark for the background. And just varying strokes gives character to the piece and makes it more natural. I want to thank you for watching. If you liked the video, this is part 1 of the Marshland watercolor. If you like and subscribe and turn on those little notifications, you will see when I release the next video and some of my other DIY videos that I do. Enjoy the rest of the video and look forward to seeing part 2.